one day somebody does something unspeakable to someone else, to someone you hardly knew, and you do something about it, because you can.
This story comes to us from Wish TV, and this is one I've been nipping at the bit. I've been pulling at the reins to get to this one. Just been like, but there's so much going on. I've just been, giving you the editorials, but this one I really wanted to get to. It's out of Indiana, and it's the one that's probably going to really piss you off. Where on January 24th of this year, 18-year-old high school student senior Vivian Augustus was pulled over by South Whitley, Indiana Police Department officer Brian Schimmel, I dubbed the A-hole. She pulled into a gas station in the small town of South Whitley, Indiana, which is west of Fort Wayne, and has probably a little more than 1,800 people in it. That's a small-ass town. Augustus's family, through a court subpoena, got the gas station surveillance footage and video from the officer's body camera.
This video from the gas station was obtained by Vivian's family through the courts. They released it to the public just over a week ago. Just 16 seconds after starting to talk with Officer Schimmel, Schimmel opens the driver's side door. After a little more than a minute of talking with the door open, Schimmel rips Augustus out of the car and throws her to the ground to arrest her.
So the body cam video shows Augustus in the back of the officer's squad car, while Schimmel explains to Augustus why he pulled her over and arrested her. The officer says, "You were pulled over for your speed and your headlight." Okay?
I'm not going to ask you any questions right now. What I am going to tell you is you were pulled over for your speed and your headlight, okay? Your speed was 37 and then 30, not that big of a deal, and your headlight was out on your driver's side. Just pulling you over to let you know. If you would have just given me your license and your registration like I asked you to do, you would have gone away for warning tonight, okay? But however, since you decided to pull this right here, where you don't want to comply, you don't want to give me your ID, and you think you're going to run the scene, you're now going to jail. Do you understand? You were not. How many times did I ask you? You were not. I've got a body cam on. It'll show you not pulling your ID out.
Augustus's family also obtained and released Officer Schimmel's body camera. The camera wasn't running during the first part of the traffic stop and is only turned on after Augustus is on the ground. Her ID can be seen within arm's reach of her on the ground while she's being arrested. Augustus was charged with refusal to identify herself, resisting arrest, and speeding. The resisting arrest charge was later dropped, but a trial was set for October for her to fight the charge of failing to identify herself. Her dad, Brent, was shocked when he found out she had been arrested.
When I ask you to step out of the vehicle, you step out of the vehicle. You don't get to sit there and tell me how I'm going to do my job. Do you understand?
Your speed was 37 in a 30. Whoa, felony. He said, not that big of a deal. Okay, you made it a big deal. The officer's body cam was not recording during the first part of the traffic stop and was only turned on after Augustus was on the ground. And did you notice her ID could be seen within arm's reach of her on the ground while she's being arrested? She had her ID in her hand and it flipped when they pulled her out. She had her ID. Augustus was charged with refusal to identify herself, resisting arrest, and speeding. The resisting arrest charge was later dropped, but a trial was set for this October for her to fight the charge of failing to identify herself, which is a misdemeanor. Her dad, Brent Augustus, was shocked when he found out she had been arrested. He said she's a captain of her show choir. She's part of the Columbia City High School EMT program. She volunteers at her church and youth leadership programs, and she's wanting to study political science and pre-law. I bet she really will study pre-law now. The town council initially released a statement saying the interaction between Schimmel and Augustus was flawed but not worthy of his dismissal from his job. 7 days after the family released the video, Whitley County prosecutor Daniel Sigler dropped the charges against Vivian Augustus. Just said, I'm not doing this. Sigler says the main reason for dropping the charges was because Schimmel would not have been credible on the stand. Why? Because he didn't start his body camera until he ripped her out of the car and threw her on the, oh yeah, my body camera. The same day the charges were dropped, Schimmel was fired from South Whitley Police Department. Workers in the town office tell I-Team 8 they have been getting threatening phone calls and messages since the video was released. That's Schimmel's fault. A statement from the town said, due to public safety, Officer Brian R.P. Schimmel is no longer with the South Whitley, Indiana Police Department. In the wake of its victory, the Augustus family wants to see improvements in policing in their town. Good luck. Brent Augustus said, I would like to see better policies in place for background checks on police officers, wouldn't we all, coming into our community and other communities, he says. Says, I would like to see better training requirements for the police officers coming out of the academy. Good luck on that one. He also says, I would like to see continuing education in place that they have to clock a certain number of hours. You know, you could give them all the education in the world. You could give them the education until the trainers are blue in the face. It doesn't help. It doesn't. They don't care. Give them all the education and training you want. What do they care? The bottom line, I mean, to just sum it up here and get your opinions. Another reason why we record traffic stops at all times. He didn't start his body camera until she was on the ground. How do we know she wasn't trying to give her ID? How do we know what she said or didn't say to the cop? How do we know what he said to her? He said, well, you weren't going to give me your ID. Yet when he started his body camera and she's on the ground, her ID is right there in front of her like it flipped out of her hand. Interesting how that works. So he was terminated, but I don't know. I was going to say, could he be charged? They're not going to charge him with any type of battery or assault or anything because he was a cop. He's going to be a cop now in Fort Wayne or Indianapolis. Watch this. Probably go to Indianapolis since it's a big city and they need cops. He'll be a cop somewhere else in Indiana or somewhere around there. Who knows? Wolverine might even be coming your way.